Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being critical, but it doesn't feel any quicker. If anything, like, it feels slower. I don't know. It can't be slower, right? It's impossible. But I did an 80 to 120. I'll do another one in a second. And I was like, that is definitely not quicker than my car. This is not ideal, but hang on.
Welcome back to Range Anxiety TV again, and today I'm solo, but with a heap of my own little performance goodies here that we'll talk about at some stage soon, but not on this episode because today we're talking all about, you guessed it, the Model 3 Performance Highland, the one that's not the Ludicrous. And if any of you are music fans, you would know Ludicrous and his famous track area codes because he's got hose. But today, I can tell you deliveries have begun in the US. So in the US of A, there are now Model 3 Performances getting rolled out the door. There are also, there is one in the UAE or Saudi Arabia or somewhere over there, the white one that is just up there. And good looking thing, all out there, but still, there is no hard data. Now, we don't even know if the one that went to the UAE is the Chinese, European, Australian, Asian spec car with the lower output or whether it's the American hardcore version. And here's where all the consternation comes in. Because there are test drives going on. That's self-aware. It rocks around all by itself. Because there are test drives going on all around the world at the moment. Every dingleberry with a draggy is out there cutting numbers in them. But it's all so confusing and it doesn't make much sense when you have a look at the actual data. For example, the cars are obviously local Teslas, sensitive to state of charge versus acceleration. They're also sensitive to battery temperature versus acceleration, which is why when we go to the track with one, we make sure it's full and the pack's hot for optimum performance. But you see, people are test driving and doing times with some with a full battery, some with an empty battery, some with a cold battery, some with a warm battery. And that's sprinkled between the Australian, Euro, Chinese cars and the American cars. So the hard points that I can see, or the hard data points that we have so far, is that someone actually managed with 88% battery charge in the States, and Justin will put the draggy screen up, managed, I believe, a 2.86 with a passenger to 60 mile an hour, which is just under the factory 2.9 claim. Now, all of the cars are speed locked too, by the seams of it. All the ones in Australia are to 137 kilometres an hour. So you can't do 100 to 200 pulls. Not that you would ever want to do that on a road, but if you were on a racetrack, and every time you hit that limit, it actually texts the Tesla or notifies them on the app, the actual person you signed off on the test drive with. So try not to do that, kids, unless of course you're at a track, then let it eat. Now, there have been some tests done in Australia, and there's one gentleman that did, I've got to look up my data there, it was nothing really special. The Aussie car did a 3.34, 0 to 100, with some caveats. So 3.34, battery state was 75%. The guy in question, I think he said he was 5'4" and 115 kilograms, sporty. He said it was a little bit damp, the road too, and we all know that doesn't really bother Tesla so much, but his 3.34 was not exactly setting the world on fire. But remember, there's no rollout subtracted there, which there was in the 2.86, so that brings that down to about 3.18, which is right on the Australian claim. And now 100 kilometres an hour is actually 62 mile per hour. So if you then convert that Australian 3.18 with rollout time into freedom units, into mile an hour, it should be looking at about a 2.9, 0 to 60 for the Aussie car, which is what I was saying. They're probably going to be the same. But the big unknown is what happens between 100 and 200. I mean, 0 to 60 in that time's great, but how fast is it actually going to be? Is it going to fall on its face? Is it going to knock over the 120 mile per hour barrier? how hard things, but it's got to if it wants my money. Like I said before, I will happily cancel my order, and I'm driving in a couple of days' time. I was busy off seeing Cybertruck, but we'll go on about that a bit later. Bloody beautiful thing. But if it wants my money, it's got to go fast, and we need some solid road tests. But with them all rolling out in Asia and in America and in the Middle East, we should see some actual real-world comparisons between the cars pretty darn soon, and that's kind of what we all need. Now, we're going to put up some videos now of this guy. I have no idea who he is. I had to bleep out some of the wording, and some guy he called a flog. I mean, I don't know who he is, so we're going to bleep out all of that. Sorry, you're watching. Whoever you are. In fact, I think I might know. However, we're going to watch his videos, and he gets the same feeling. Now, he is a Model 3 Performance owner, a 2019 version like mine, apparently. He doesn't feel it's any faster. Now, I think a lot of that might be, because we are splitting hairs up here, might be to do with the fact that the thing rides so much better and the thing's so much more planted. Where the old one would torque steer around a bit and lift the nose, this gives you a more planted drive by all reports, and I'll test that on Friday. But towards the end of this video now, we'll take you away, stop and watch this strange guy's videos, because I think there is a little bit to learn from them if you are in the market for a Model 3, a performance.
All right, boys, you can time this yourselves after you get the video. Bit of slippy there. I swear it doesn't feel like it brakes as good. Maybe I'm just, I don't know, feeling things, but it's quick. I don't know if it's much quicker. I reckon it ain't a 2-second car, but we'll see. One thing I'll say, I was sending it through some roundabouts and shit before. The active suspension is pretty sweet. That is definitely an improvement. I didn't realise I was in comfort or whatever at the start. I was like, she's gripping all right, and then I put her into sport later. It's definitely firm as this is sport now, and it's compliant, that's for sure. Sport feels like our cars, I guess, but comfort or whatever it was called just felt smoother, but I don't think comfort really gives away anything from outright grips, that's for sure. Probably pushes a little bit. Like I loaded it up through a roundabout before, like a small one, pushes a little bit, but it's pretty neutral. I'd be pretty happy with that. Track mode, you know, you can obviously tune that to a bit more oversteery if that floats your boat, but pretty good job there in the suspension, I reckon. All right, let's try that again. No one here. All right, 80, 100, go. And 120. It's not, I don't know. I need more run. I gave it a bit of a squirt before, up to about 160 or something like that, but I don't know. I'm getting low in the battery now too. I've been flogging the piss out of it. I'm not a faggot like I don't know. 10-second car? I don't think so. Don't get me wrong. Beautiful. It's a nice evolution of my car, but it ain't no revolution. That's for sure. Can't really justify the upgrade. I don't know. We'll see. Fucking here we go. Another send. This is not slow. It ain't slow. Don't know. Need some data. I need to put the thing on a dyno and actually test it.